Hi, this is God Shamm God.
And I'm Jose.
And this is Talk to God. Hi, this is God Shamm God. I'm sitting here with a close friend of mine and McDonald's All-American high school legend, Zendon Hamilton, and my brother Jose. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you, man. It's good to be here. Good to hang out with you.
It's good. For all the people that don't know who you are, and things like that, that's not really in the basketball world, in the new millenniums, just share a little bit about yourself with them.
Grew up in Long Island. I'm from New York. Started off as a young kid playing basketball, along with yourself, all around the 5 boroughs. Just happened to be okay at it and gotten to be a McDonald's All-American. And after that, went to St. John's University, stayed for 4 years, when guys were staying 4 years. Got a little bit of a slice of humble pie and went overseas first. I went to Spain first. Greece was the second year. And then I caught on with the Los Angeles Clippers and met in summertime around there. That's Lamar Odom, that's Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson. And went to a mini camp and happened to catch on with them. And then it just rolled from there. And, that's where it went.
What did you feel like your turning point was from overseas to the NBA and that span from when you left St. John's to what you think was like the difference from making it straight from St. John's or going over and then going overseas and then make it?
Well, I want to say, Shamm, that's a mindset thing. So, as you know, the New York talks to you a little bit when you're in, and it's telling you you're the best, and that's why I said humble pie. Yeah. So, when I was looking to get drafted and I didn't, that was, which way are you going to go now, Z? Are you going to crumble or are you going to go get a job now, right? So, went back in the laboratory. For all you don't know, the laboratory is the gym. Yeah. Started working and changed things around, changed my mindset, changed my character, went overseas, built myself up and got in the weight room, changed some of my game. When it wasn't space, it's space now. Yeah. But back then it was bumping and grinding. Yes. So did that and like I said, happened to catch on when I came back in Los Angeles, and things started to roll from there.
Yeah, in that era, when you play McDonald's America, you probably play with like the most notable. We came up in the era with one of the most notable superstars. That was LeBron James before LeBron James, which is Felipe Lopez. Sure. And touching base on that, he went to St. John's and you went to St. John's, and that era, that class y'all had, going through all that, being like that's the first time somebody really got that much attention. For Felipe. But then you was a part of that too because you was a great high school player going to St. John's. How did all that mesh when y'all got to St. John's? How did you feel? Because you and Felipe is like one of the few, that stayed home. Sure. Coming up in that era, it was me, Stephon Marbury, people like that. We all went away. But you and Felipe took that challenge on staying home. And if you could give some details on how it was a positive effect and how you felt it was a negative effect of being home.
Well, I'll go negative first. No, absolutely, I'll go positive. Positive, it was, you got to stay close to your family. I'm a big family guy myself, and friends. It's a close second. They all got to see me play. It was a fun time. Second, it was the exposure. New York is the media capital of the world. And we never really talked about it, me and Felipe. He's a humble guy as well as myself. And we just took the challenges as it came. Like I said, the negative, which, would be that if we played a bad game, it was all over the papers. Everybody was calling, what's going on? And now you're too close to home, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because everybody's in your face.
Everybody's in your face. Right there.
You going to St. John's, you felt like that made you a stronger player, a stronger man, a stronger person for further things in your life as adulthood came?
Absolutely. Just the experience of playing in New York under that type of pressure and scrutiny that Felipe was on the Sports Illustrated cover before we even went to practice. We didn't even go to class yet. Yeah, exactly. And he comes out. And then we had 2 coaches, which I don't think people understood. We had Brian Mahoney first, and in the middle, at my sophomore year, we had Fran Fischella. Now, I would say personally, Brian taught me the game, and Fran made me a professional. So that prepared me for anything else that I took on, after school, as well as going into overseas first. It wasn't even a thought, of working hard and being a man and growing up and being an adult first. And then after that, the basketball came second, which was easy.
So how did it feel, when you went overseas and you first got, like, your dream finally came true of you playing on the NBA team? Like, what was those type of emotions? Like, okay, finally, like, this hard work is really paying off and things like that.
That it was beautiful. You're sending me back into a great time right now. I came back and I never played my first year. I played maybe 2 games, but I was so happy to be on an NBA team. I remember getting the call. If anybody knows LA, I was by the Fox Hills Mall, and my agent, who's now past Dan Fagan, called me and said, "You're in. You made it." And I'm calling my dad. I'm calling everyone. And it was a beautiful experience, man. It was terrific and a little emotional, but it was nice, really nice.
What was, like, one of the first things you did when you first got your first NBA check?
I'm going to tell you.
The reason why I'm asking, because, like, the reason why I'm asking, because, like, your path was different. You was overseas, so you was already an adult.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you just coming out of college and you getting the money and you already lived by yourself. You already did things like that.
And to add to that question Shamm is asking, which is a great question, what advice would you give young kids who think they one and done, this and that? You're a guy who did 4 years and still wasn't mentally and physically ready. And 2 years overseas, you said helped you.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give a guy or a player who thinks he's ready right out of high school or first year out of school, 18, 19 years old?
I'll answer Shamm's first.
Okay.
I bought a pair of sneakers. Okay. I didn't go it wasn't a car, I bought a pair of sneakers. To answer your question, the one and dones, if you can, I think to secure your family and your future, that's good for you, for your situation.
Yeah.
But for me, it was education first. You can always go back and take care of yourself. And I thought that was important for me. 4 years, I know, after us, then the one and done started, if you guys remember. I'm sure you guys remember, it was Kevin.
Definitely.
And then the next year, Kobe, and then Stephon, and then it went on and on and on. But at least with myself, my mom's, education was first.
Yeah, definitely.
We can always play basketball. And education is going to take you further along in life.
So you was there with me, like, in the golden eras of New York City basketball and things like that. So when you look back at New York City basketball now, what do you see, like, the difference from then and now?
I'm gonna be a little jaded and say, there's a lot of talent when we played. A lot. You're talking about yourself. You're talking about Rafer Alston. You're talking about Kareem Reed, Felipe Lopez. I can go down the list. We talked about this a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Jamal Robinson, and then you want to talk about guys that just in 155th, and guys like that. Half man, half amazing, and all those guys. So I'm not sure I really see that now. I don't know if that's a true statement. Maybe I'm not close to the game or high school basketball like I'm supposed to be.
The question we asked a last guest that we had was, do you think, because when you were younger, you used to play in the streets a lot.
Absolutely.
And you played against guys older than you, which made you tougher and stronger.
Yes.
You think that guys are missing that because of AAU now, players? They think they need that?
Well, it's a different time. Evolution is a part of everything. I'll tell you a story right now that, and when we played, working out was playing against older guys on the blacktop.
Me and Shamm was just talking about that.
So now working out is getting a trainer and shooting 100 shots against nobody.
Exactly.
I think that the in-between is hurting our kids and our future, because the dog is what we call it in coaching now. It's not there.
Exactly.
Or it's not built. Again, when we played, if you go on the blacktop and you play and you lose, you're not coming back on for another half an hour. So
Absolutely.
that's what builds that mechanism in you that says, I'm not losing.
No, absolutely. That competitive.
Yeah, that competitive nature.
The things that you got going on in your life now, what are you trying to accomplish with basketball? Still being in basketball, like what are some of your goals that you're trying to accomplish and, help teach the new generation?
Well, that's wonderful. Old school ethics that turn over to now that are relevant to now. And I would love to be a head coach. I've been coaching for about 5 years now. I started with the Idaho Stampede when it was the D League. Went back to St. John's for Steve Lavin's year, and then it was Chris Mullin, and then did 2 years with the Texas Legends, and now I'm with the Clippers. So I enjoy being around the kids. They keep me young. I'm a student of Tim Gergovich, who you guys don't know is a legendary teacher, as well as Shamm here. I pick his brain all the time about developing and getting guys better and kids better. So I feel that I've had my niche. I think I'm pretty good at developing kids.
Coming up in the time you came up, who was probably your best person you ever played against? Or who did you, second question, who did you try to emulate your game after?
Oof, that's a good question. I want to say who I tried to emulate my game after, I want to say David Robinson. He was a lefty like myself. Again, now there's spacers. They're called spacers. So back then it was back to the basket. So David was one of the guys that I looked at as a lefty to parallel my game after. And the second question you said was about young kids.
No, yeah, I was saying, what would you tell a young kid coming up that wanted to be the next, Zendon Hamilton or stuff like that?
That's easy. You work hard first. Second, I can only give you guidelines. I can't make you good. So number one is work hard. Number two is be a good teammate. Number three is never forget rules number 1 and 2, and let your talents lead you from there.
Who are some of the top players right now in the last 3 years? Who you think is got that niche? Not somebody that's in the NBA, somebody that just came into the NBA now. Who you think got that 1990s fire in their game and stuff like that?
Who could have played in your era, been successful?
Well, I'm gonna tell you that in the league, Russell could have played in our era. No question. KD is another one that could have played in our era. And I mean, you're talking about a long time ago. Even, I was watching the Big Three the other day and watching Reggie Evans and those guys that, is just, terrorizing, without skill. Because I didn't have a lot of skill when I got into the league, and it was really set picks and work hard and be there early, stay late, come in on days off. All of that matters when you're trying to develop. So that's what I preach to the kids now. You can't skip steps. It won't work. The only guys that I know who skips, not even skip steps, but they're naturally talented or gifted, is 1 in 100. You're talking about, for me, I would say, a guy like Lamar Odom, who never had to work out, and I'm in there sweating, do 500 shots a day, and he would come back and get 18, 7, and 7. Those naturally gifted guys are 1 in a million. So you have to put in the work.
Yes.
If you don't, someone, if you're shooting 100 shots, someone in Croatia is shooting 150, and they'll pass you by. That's the only way.
And you've been around, being from New York, you see all the flash and stuff like that. So we're in the era where sneakers and stuff are taking over and things like that. And we've seen a big rise in the last probably 3 years, 2 years, in the Puma life, the evolution of Puma life, right?
Yep.
So where do you see Puma in the sneaker market now, and how all the sneakers and stuff is coming alive and resonating to people? You see more people wearing Puma and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, Puma is taking off. It's kind of like how when Amazon first came out, Facebook, you just heard about it, and then all of a sudden it's like word of mouth, and then everybody has it, and it's it's a beautiful thing to see. It's terrific, and everybody's wearing them, and you got shirts and foundations and corporations, and it's going everywhere. So I want to equate it to Amazon. It's moving really fast.
Nah, that's good. And last question.
Sure.
You've been in the era with Felipe Lopez. You've been in the area with Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
Now we have another phenom. Zion Williams. What do you think about him and his evolution and what he's doing with the game? Because now we have social media. When we played, we didn't have social media, so you couldn't see a Vince Carter until you saw him in the NBA or McDonald's All-American game. But now everything is so close-knit and the world is so small now. So you see everything in real time like Zion and things like that. What do you think about a player like that?
I first saw him on the internet, a buddy of mine, and he's an absolute phenomenon. We've never had anybody like him. I want to compare him maybe, I want to say Larry Johnson with Blake Griffin athleticism. I mean, that's just, I want to say he's almost 290 and he has a 44-inch vertical leap. I mean, it's just, he's, with the rules being how they are now and not being in the 90s, him coming off a screen or on transition, semi-transition, getting downhill, there's nothing you can do. Even if you do take a charge, it's going to be a problem, for you physically. So I look for great things for him.
Yeah, and like I said, last but not least, what do you got in the coming years? Any foundation, anything you're doing, anything you want the people to know that you're doing, and to be on the lookout for Zendon Hamilton?
Well, I'm coaching. It's traded from playing to coaching, and it's a passion of mine, and I'm just going where it leads me, Shan. I can never stop relating to kids and getting them better. I go around the gyms, even when I'm on off time, it's summertime, I go to gyms and I see somebody doing something, I'm trying to correct them or give them knowledge that people have given me. So that's really it, man. I love to develop kids, and it's just a really good passion of mine.
And last question, being from New York, you're seeing, you came up in my era, so we was there when it was Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z, Nas, things like that, right? So what do you feel about the evolution of Jay-Z and where is he taking us as a culture?
Oh, Jay, we grew up with Jay-Z.
Absolutely.
So, man, I have all his albums, and what he's doing now is just, again, I have to go back to Amazon. Now we're talking about the business side.
Yeah.
He is bigger than life, and kudos to him. He's worked as hard as anyone. And again, we're looking at a guy leading us in every aspect, business aspect, footwear, clothing, music. He's one of our top guys that we have.
All right. Zendon, I appreciate you coming and share time with your brother.
Anytime.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
I love you.
Yes, sir. Love
we
you,
had
man.
battles. We've been together, everything like that. McDonald's All-American Fam, New York City.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming to talk to God.
Love it.
Peace,
Love it,
brother.
Yes, sir.